about invasive species, but first I'll start off with the video. We have to do the same thing as the first. Oops.
You can right click it.
I don't think.
If you hit F,
Top
it
is
should
on
make
top.
it full screen. Like if it goes away, try hitting F and see if it'll go full screen.
So with that, I now want to talk about what an invasive species is. Invasive species are plants and animals that are not native to their actual other habitats. A lot of people might know that there are invasive species in Florida in their Everglades, such as the green iguana. I have done plenty of research on invasive species, and I've also used to watch documentaries about them. The purpose of this speech is to inform others about how invasive species can be very damaging to ecosystems. First, I'll be discussing how an invasive species becomes an invasive species. Second, I'll discuss the different kinds of invasive species there are. And lastly, I'll be discussing how can they damage an ecosystem. So how invasive species become invasive species. Invasive species can come from ship ballast water, releasing pets, and fishing bait. Ballast water spreads 7,000 living species in new habitats. So in this picture here, it shows like this is basically a boat, and the way the sides of the arrows are, on the side of a boat, there's usually like mussels and like little animals that are attached to the boat, and whenever the water hits partially on the side of the boat, the little species can come out off of that and can go into different parts of the water. Now, when people release pets, when they can't take care of them, such as the red-eared turtle, a lot of people who can't take care of them once they get big, or they can't find another owner to take care of them, they release them into ponds or lakes that they're probably might not even be allowed in. Then now the live bait. Fishermen usually use live bait to capture fish, and they use like small little minnow fish or something like that to get the fish attention. And whenever, like let's say they don't attach it correctly and it swims away, or like the bucket of fish, they all just like go away, but they're always live. Now that I discussed how they become invasive species, I'll be discussing the different types. Any living organism can be an invasive species once out of their ecosystem. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, there are 50,000 animals on this earth, but only 4,300 of them are considered invasive, such as the lionfish, the Burmese python, and this is one plant that's an invasive species, which is the Japanese honeysuckle, and zebra mussels. Now I'll be talking about how the Burmese python is an invasive species. So according to Lindsay A. Kersling, the Burmese python is native to Southeast Asia, and they're usually kept as pets. And owners who are unfit usually set them loose mainly in Florida, because a lot of people in Florida have these pets, and they can be dangerous because they overpopulate way too fast. Now that I discussed the different types of invasive species, I'll now be talking about how they're damaging to an ecosystem. An ecosystem is a biological community of organisms and their physical environment. Invasive species can cause a lot of harm because they either do not have other animals that are their predators, and like if there's plants that are invasive, they don't have animals that will eat them. So they tend to grow and overpopulate. They also impact the species that live there because they usually don't have predators. They have competition for resources and destruction of habitat. Now it's time to conclude. Most people never really consider invasive species as they never really think about it. First, I spoke about how invasive species become an invasive species, the different kinds, and how they are dangerous to ecosystems. Hopefully, all of you will have more knowledge of invasive species. To conclude, I will leave you with this. According to island conservation, the majority of all recorded extinctions have occurred on islands that have invasive species. And one fun fact is that goldfish are considered invasive species, and they are all on the lower parts of the 48 states, such as Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. Thank you.